Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu. Thank you once again for being part of tonight's program. As you know, this platform is called Become a Better Man or a Better Woman. And one of the best ways to become a better person is to be able to look beyond yourself, take the focus off yourself, put your attention to others. Focus on other people's need, other people's desire. Find out how you can be a blessing to somebody else. Find out how you can add value to somebody else. Find out how you can make somebody else's life better. How you can add a little here and a little there and a little here and a little there to somebody else so that they can have a good life. Because you see, it is easy for all of us to concentrate on ourselves. Because let's face it, we all have issues that we're dealing with. We have things that we're contending with. We have bills that are crying out at us. Health issues, financial issues, marital issue with the children, with our career, with our academics. So it is very easy to become self-consumed and self-focused and just think about me, myself, and I. As good as that is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying neglect yourself, but as good as that is, until you look beyond yourself, until you act outside of yourself, until you take your focus off yourself and put it on others, you are not living. You are just existing. So tonight we're going to be looking at a specific part of your life and my life on how we can start on this journey of becoming a better person by looking at how can I add value to you? How can I make your life better or easier or smoother? What can I do in my capacity as your friend, as your spouse, as your parent, as your colleague, as a person in the society? What part can I play to make your life a better place? And that is what we'll be looking at on tonight's program. How can I add value to you? How can I make you better in who you are and your life experience? You see, one of the best ways to do that is to serve, is to put yourself in a position where you are serving somebody else. And I know serving it's almost a byword. It's almost it's almost a derogative word into today's world and in today's vernacular. But I can assure you, serving is perhaps one of the most rewarding and most wonderful thing you can do to somebody else. You see, serving the purpose of other people, lending somebody a helping hand, reaching out to somebody that needs assistance, being there for somebody, paying somebody a visit in the hospital, running their errands and taking out their trash and washing their dishes and babysitting and speaking to them and whatever it is. In whatever area where you find yourself, reaching out to somebody else is an area in which you're serving. So serving the purpose of others is one of the best and most rewarding gifts that you can give to them. Let me ask you a question. Whatever it is you are dealing with, you are contending with, you're struggling with, that is confronting you right now, how would you feel if somebody comes along and just give you a helping hand and just give you a little support, just whisper a word of encouragement, just a pat on the back, just a thumbs up to say I can see you, just something to give you a boost? How would you feel about that? Because every time somebody is doing that or you are doing that, whether you know it or not, you are serving, you are helping, you are reaching out, you are looking beyond yourself to be a helper to somebody else. In fact, our Lord Jesus Christ said, there is no, he said, look, I'm here not to be served, but to serve you. And he went on to say, one of in fact, the greatest demonstration of your love one to another is the amount of value you can add to somebody else in an area of serving them. And if necessary, when it is necessary, if that is what it's going to cost, with your own very life. And this reminds me, and I pay special recognition and appreciation to our men and women in uniform all over the world, irrespective of the country in which they come and they represent and they are defending, because they have made this choice that they will serve you and I. They will stand on the line for you and I. They will uphold the unity and defend the sovereignty of you and I and the land that we come from. And that is serving. You see, helping others is one of the fundamental principles of life, because whoever you are, wherever you are, from wherever you are, we all need somebody to be there for us. We all need somebody to help us, to support us, to just acknowledge us. And because we all need that, it is incumbent upon us, therefore, to always look for a way, find a way, devise a way to be that person to somebody else. In fact, the only time that you and I should look down at anybody is when we're helping them to come up higher. It's when you are stretching a helping hand to bring them up. It's when you are bending down to serve them. It's when you are lowering yourself to not to bring yourself to where they are, so that together we can rise up. So if the idea, which I believe it is, if the goal, if the desire, if the purpose of life, of individual lives, is to become a better person, to become a better man and a better woman, how great will it be for you to start on this journey of becoming a better person by making a determination that if it's up to you, if it's left with you, if it's just about you, you will serve the purpose of others. You will be the helping hand when they need it. You will be the shoulder for them to cry on. You will be the one that will reach out for them to know you are never alone. You are always, somebody is always thinking about you, believing in you, trusting with you, holding your hand, upholding you. And when it comes to serving other people, when it comes to becoming a better person because of your service, you could tell the whole world that you're a better man. You could announce it on the biggest platform, you're a better woman. But ultimately, the qualification, the recognition, the appropriateness of you being a better man and a better woman is the testimonies of others that you have reached out to, that you have made their lives better, that you have contributed something to become better person, to become better human beings, to have a better experience. It is their testimonies, the difference that your life has made in their life, that will confirm that you're a better person. There is a place for personal development and growth. And that is so important, because ultimately, you can only give what you have. So there is a place for personal development and growth. Even the purpose of this should not be so that I can become the best man in town. And the yes, there is a place for believing in yourself and developing yourself and growing yourself to be better in everything. But even in that pursuit of growth, in that pursuit of self-development, there must be a percentage, there must be an area that is carved out of you, that is dedicated and committed solely for the benefit of others. It must be there. It has to be there. It should be there. Imagine what this world would be like today if each one of us would just think of being a blessing to somebody else, would just reach out to help somebody, would just agree that this person needs to be supported without considering all the things, all the parameters that we would ideally consider. Everybody needs help. You need help. I need help. Let's help one another. Let's serve one another. Let's be there for one another. Let's reach out and touch one another. Because it is in that we demonstrate that this world and this life is worth living. So if the purpose of becoming a better person, or if the roadmap towards becoming a better person is laid with the foundation of service, you will agree with me, therefore, that it is important for us to find out how to serve. Search out for who to serve. Reach out and cry out for help where you need it. There are principles. There are things that we must follow. There are character traits that we must develop for our services to be considered and for our services to be seen as adding values to other people. Because the sum total of life is not in the things that you have. It's not in the accumulation of things. It's not in your bank balance. It's not in the number of houses and your foreign bank account and this and that. As great as those things are, the sum total of your life and my life is determined by how much your life has been a blessing to somebody. How much of your life has transferred from you to add values to others? How much, what would be your legacy? What would be my legacy? Would your legacy and my legacy be determined by what we have and the titles and the accolades, or will our legacies be the testimonies of people, of lives that we touched, that we helped, that we served, that we added values to, that we made their lives better in one way or another? According to Tesco, every little helps. And you may think, oh, that's not much. It's not really anything. But don't worry. Let the value be determined by the beneficiary. Don't hold back in the area of reaching out, of being a blessing, of serving, of helping, of supporting, of encouraging. One, if not the greatest gift or blessing that you can be to another is to serve them, is to add values to them and their lives and their life experience through your service. Every relationship in this world is as strong as the bond of communication that binds them together, that holds them in place. And many relationships, either personal, personal, business, corporate, national, international, this or that or this or that, every relationship will thrive or fall on the platform of the quality of the communication that is going on within the parameters of that relationship, and whether you know it or not. Especially if you don't know it, let me help you tonight. One of the best ways you can serve somebody is by understanding the importance of communication, of talking, of hearing, of listening, of being there, of just interacting one with another. So if communication is of that importance, one of the best ways to serve one another in the sending and receiving of communication is to know how to handle your service in this area. Let me give you an example. Have you ever heard, and I know a lot of us have heard it, of the game called the Chinese whisper game, where one person, it starts with one person will say something, who will then whisper it to the second person and the third, and by the time it gets to the end, depending on the number of people on the queue, on the chain, by the time it gets to the end, 8 times out of 10, what the last person heard is completely, almost totally different from what the first person said. What am I trying to say? Communication and service are only valuable to the degree to which the original intention and the integrity of the sender is maintained and understood, while it adds value to the receivers along the way. Your communication as a way of serving others is only as valuable as the original intention of the sender and the integrity of the message is maintained, and it is understood by the receiver as a way of it adding value to their lives. So in order for you and I to add values to others, we must serve them with the best communication service possible. We must serve them with the best way to protect and maintain the intention and the integrity of the sender. And if you are the sender, you must send it with the same intention and integrity in such a way that it will add values to the person at the far end or at the receiving end. So quickly, let us look at some of the ways by which we can serve one another by adding values to one another in the way we communicate, in the way we relate, in the way we talk, in the way we hear, in the way we receive, in the way we listen. Now, you may be wondering, what has that got to do with me being a better man or a better woman? Well, I'm glad you asked the question, because it has everything to do with you and I being a better man and a better woman. The reason I say that is when you look at the conflicts that are on the table in your life, in my life, in our relationships, in our society, in the community, everywhere. When you look at the conflict, most of them, most of the time, we are saying the same thing. We're just not communicating it the same way. We are going the same place. We're going to the same place. Our approach to getting to that destination is different. And that is the bottom line to many issues in our lives, in our marriages, in our relationships, in our businesses, and in the world generally. So how do you determine, how do you prepare yourself, how do you put yourself in a place in such a way that you can add values to somebody else, especially in this area of talking and hearing? The first thing you must do is you must be ready to receive the message or the assignment or the instruction properly. You must be ready to receive the instruction, the assignment, the task, the communication, you must be in a state where you are able to receive it properly. Now, does that mean you need to, simply put, where are you when you are being communicated? Where are you during the process of communication? Where are you when a message is being given or sent to you? Where are you when you are sending out this communication? You see, instructions or assignments or communication are generally passed from one person to another, in most cases verbally, and in a few instances in a written format. You see, in order for you and I to receive instruction properly, when we know that most of them will come via verbal transmission, you must maintain proper posture, and you must present yourself with the necessary tools to receive that instruction or that message or that communication. Because when you do that, you are actually serving the other person that is sending it, because you put yourself in a position where they are at ease in the message they are sending. And they put themselves in a position where you are at ease in order to receive the message. Your posture, your appearance, the way you carry yourself will go a long way in determining whether in this particular instance you are adding value to the other person or not. Have you ever approached somebody? Because I know we've all done this. We've all been in this position. You wanted to speak to somebody about something, and you took one look at the person and you think, no, I can't talk to this person about this. Not because they have two heads, not because they are not able to hear you, not because they probably cannot do what you've asked them, but the reason you hesitated, the reason you withdrew, the reason you pulled back from talking to the person is you took one look at that person and you think, oh, come on, you look dirty, scruffy, and unkempt. If this is the way you look after yourself, I can't entrust you with my message. I can't entrust you with my assignment. I can't entrust you with this task at hand. You ask yourself, can I really commit this important message to this person looking at the way they are? Now, you may think, oh, Tunde, come off it. What has my appearance got to do with that? Everything. Everything. Because it's a natural tendency, it's a natural phenomenon that when you see somebody within the first 5 to 7 seconds, you make an impression of that person. And it is usually based on what you see, the physical appearance. So when you look unkempt, when you look rough and untidy, it makes people to question, number one, your ability to serve them. Number two, your capacity to add values to them. Now, you could say, well, that's their loss. After all, they're the one wanting to give you a message. Well, that's true. But you see, you've just eliminated yourself from the line of being a blessing, of adding values to that person. In every situation, in every relationship, there's always two categories. There's one category of who is who, and then there's another category of who is left. There's a category of who is who, and then the category of who is left. Your appearance, the way you carry yourself, the way you portray yourself, the way you present yourself would make the other party determine whether you are in the league of who is who, or they will relegate you to the group of who is left. And whichever group you belong to will determine whether they communicate with you. And that will determine whether you even have the benefit, the opportunity to be a blessing, to add values to that person. There is no second chance, they say, in first impression. How you appear says a lot about you and the state of your mind, which ultimately will affect what you do and how you do them. So people would look at you and think, I really needed that doing, but not him. No, no. I'd rather just hold my peace. When somebody is communicating with you, especially in a verbal setting, maintain eye contact. Show that you are interested. Pay attention to what they're saying, but more than that, how they're saying, the body language, because most of the things that will be said or most of the messages that will be communicated to you will not be in words. Some of them will just be body language. You hear more, you see more, you perceive more, you understand more when you view and you hear than you do when you just hear. That is why in school, they don't just teach you to read. They teach you to read and to write, because you are doing, viewing, and hearing all at the same time. So the first thing you need to do to add value to people is to present yourself. Put yourself, be ready to receive the assignment. Be ready to receive instruction. Look proper. Show yourself. Bible said a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. If you want to add values to people in your life, in your environment, in your contact, in your business, around you, and the world at large, the next thing you must learn to do is you must learn how to acknowledge instructions. Now, I know it's like, what has that got to do with me being a better person? We'll get to it. You must learn how to acknowledge instructions, how to receive a message, how to carry out an assignment in such a way that it will add value to the person that you are serving. Because remember, where two of you are rubbing minds and rubbing hands and exchanging ideas, you are actually serving one another. So what do I mean by acknowledge instruction? When an instruction is given, when a message is released, when a task is delegated or assigned, it is assumed, when somebody gives you an instruction, it is assumed by the person giving the instruction that you have heard what they are saying. The only thing is, it does not confirm that you have received what they're saying. Because there's a fundamental difference between hearing and listening. There is a big difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is a natural occurrence. As long as there's nothing wrong with your eardrums, you can hear. Listening, on the other hand, is a deliberate, a purposeful action that connotes not just hearing, but hearing with the intention to do something about what you are hearing. So when it comes to you acknowledging instruction, it is important that you don't just hear it, but you listen. You listen to the instruction with the mindset of carrying it out. For instance, one of the main reasons why husband and wife are sometimes quarreling and quibbling and whatever comes to this same issue. because we're wired differently. For instance, to a man, the fact that you mentioned or you talked about something to the man, we've discussed it, we've agreed, we've made a decision, and he's moving on. But to a woman, no, yes, she mentioned it. Yes, you talked about it. As far as she's concerned, you haven't discussed it. You have not finalized it. It is still an open book. It is still an ongoing conversation. So when she brings it up again and again, the man is like, we've talked about this. Can we just leave it? And she's like, no, we haven't finished it. We have not, because to the man, you've heard it and it's done. To the woman, you haven't heard it until you have done it. Nodding. Oh, yes. Yes, I hear you. Even that is not an indication that the instruction has been received. And because it does not confirm that you have received the instruction, it leaves the person that you are communicating with wondering, did he hear what I said? Did he just hear part of it? Or he didn't even hear anything at all? Or maybe he heard everything. The only way that you add value to the other person is when you acknowledge the instruction, when you acknowledge the conversation, when you acknowledge the discussion, when you acknowledge that you have not just heard, but you have understood, and you are willing to do something about it. So how do you acknowledge instruction? How do you acknowledge instruction? The first thing you can do is to repeat the instruction verbatim. I know you might think, oh, come on. Why do we have to say good morning, good morning? Did you say? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the core of the conversation. You can acknowledge an instruction by repeating almost verbally what has just been said to you. Because when you do that, it will benefit both of you. It will add values to both of you in the sense that it will clear or correct any misunderstanding or misrepresentation of what has been said. For example, if you say to your friend, hey John, I want you to pick me up at the house at 6:30 p.m. And John said, fine, no problem. Now, you have given John a specific instruction with a specific time. John, by nodding or by saying no problem, has acknowledged that information. But does that mean what you said was what he heard and understood? The only way to remove any ambiguity in what you've said and what John has heard is for John to repeat what you've said. And in most cases, this is what will happen. So you said, John, I want you to pick me up at my house at 6:30 p.m. If John says back to you, oh, you want me to be at your house around 6:30? Now, to a normal average person, we're saying the same thing. I want you to pick me up at my house at 6:30. Or you want me to be at your house around 6:30. We're saying the same thing. But we heard. They are two different things. Because John's understanding is, as long as I'm around, I don't have to be in your house. If I'm around your house, maybe about half a mile away from your house, about 6:30 p.m., we're still good. Can you see how, by just repeating what you said to John, can you see the gap between what you said and what he heard? I want you to be at my house at 6:30 p.m. You want me to be around your house at 6:30 p.m. Two different things. But by repeating the instruction, It gives the instructor or the person communicating the immediate avenue to correct whatever the receiver heard that is not what the sender is saying. And it removes any misunderstanding that can eventually lead to an argument and a big fight somewhere down the line. By repeating the instruction, it confirms the message was heard, number one, it was understood, number two, and it was clear on what is required or expected. When you repeat the instruction that was given to you in an attempt to add value to your relationship that you are involved with, it helps the receiver to immediately start thinking, what do I need to do? Which route do I need to take to be at your house for 6:30 so that I'm not late and I'm not caught in traffic? Maybe my car is in the garage. Whose car can I use? Who do I need to talk to use their car? How far do I need to go to Paul's house to pick up Paul's car so that I can be? And immediately it sends a lot of clock ticking. But if there is no clarity, by repeating what I just been said, I could think, okay, all right, I'll be at your house around 6:30. So if I leave home about 6 o'clock, there shouldn't be any traffic along the way. And then you leave at 6:10, you're in traffic, 7 o'clock, you're still not at his house. But I told you to be in my house. Yeah, but I said I'll be there around 6:30. I was caught in traffic. And now there's a big fight. You have not added any value to that person. You have not served that person because you have not delivered on the instruction that was given to you, when all you needed to do was to repeat the instruction and get clarity, and everybody will be happy thereafter. Is this helping anybody? We all need to become better men and better women. And part of what we need to do are some of these little things that will take us beyond the level of average. Another way by which you acknowledge instruction in order for it to be clear and for you to be able to deliver and add value to the person you're serving is to turn the instruction into a question. Turn the instruction into a question as a way of adding value to the person. When an instruction is given, again, it is generally understood that the person you are giving the instruction to understand what you're saying. Especially if the instruction is a multi-party instruction. If it has several components or different parts to the instruction, it is so crucial, it's so important that you turn that instruction into a question. For example, say you call your driver as the MD of your business, you have a driver, and you say, John, kindly take my car home for my wife to use in the afternoon. She has a 2 o'clock appointment with the dentist. But on your way, please stop by the dry cleaners and pick up my suit and wash the car as well. So the instruction is, there are many parts to it. Take the car to the house because my wife needs it for her 2 o'clock dentist appointment. Pick up my suit from the dry cleaners and wash the car. It looks like straightforward instruction, but it has multiple parts. And there could be a reason why the parts are there. Now, imagine John now takes the car. He takes the car to the house. He gets to the house, he takes your wife to the dentist, and he brings her back to the house. Then take the car to the car wash. After washing the car, he then went to the dry cleaners, collected your suit, and took it home. He has done everything you want him to do. But has he added values to you? No. Because there is a reason, in most cases, why the instruction in such a sequence. But by turning the instruction into a question, you understand that even though I can do all of these, is there a reason why you want it done this way, after this, and after this, and after that? So the right thing, the right way to handle that instruction in order to add value to the person is to ask the question, sir, do you want me to wash the car first and then collect your suit from the dry cleaners before taking your wife for a 2 o'clock appointment? Now you are asking for clarity. Now you are demanding that I want to be able to deliver this instruction, but I need you to clarify it for me so that at the end of the day, when I've finished the assignment, it will add values to you and to me. And it is at that point that you can then say, no, I'm saying it this way. Take the car home, take my wife to the dentist, go and pick up my suit from the dry cleaners, then wash the car, and then come back to the office. There is a reason why it is in that sequence. And unless you deliver it the way it is expected, the way it is required, the way it is intended, you have not added value to anybody. You have not served that person. Can you see how important it is that in communication, some of the things we fight about, it's not necessary. If only we will know how to acknowledge instruction, how to repeat the instruction, how to turn the instruction into a question, just so that we can get clarity. Another way by which you handle or acknowledge instruction is by making sure you respond promptly. You and I have been at the receiving end of waiting on somebody to call you back, waiting on an email to arrive, waiting at the bus station for the bus to come. And the bus is there, but you can't go in. And nobody is telling you why the bus is there and you can't go in. And on and on and on and on. A value-added communication is ensured by responding immediately, promptly, maybe to emails, to phone calls, to messages, or anything. You respond immediately or as soon as possible. Now, if you are my friend, you will know I'm as guilty as charged on this one. I'm working on it. Just give me please bear with me. I'm working on it. When an instruction is given to you or a follow-up of an old instruction is received, it usually demands of you, it is expected of you to action it and respond immediately or as soon as possible. A quick response will go a long way to add value to the person that is sending the message, because number one, it says to them, you have received the message. Because you and I know that you could send a message and it's just hanging there. It's gone to China and then traveled to Russia. It's gone back to Hong Kong and then it's gone to Australia before your email eventually arrives in London. So while you are waiting, you don't know where it is. You don't know whether it has arrived in London or is still doing the merry-go-round the world. But as soon as you receive the instruction, the way to add value to this relationship is for you to, even if it's a lie, if it's a phone call, if it's just a thumbs up, to say, I got your message. It will also help the person who is sending the message to expect some further action or a delivery at some point from you, rather than just thinking, wait, did they get it? Maybe they didn't get it. Maybe it's still on the way. Maybe it has arrived. When a message or an instruction is not acknowledged at all or on time, you know what will happen? It forces the sender of the message to start chasing you, not for the expected delivery. They start chasing you just to acknowledge that you have got the message. Guilty. Did you see my message? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Just let me know you've received it. Oh, yes, I got the message 3 days ago. I'm really sorry. Listen, we've all been there. But from this program now, we need to make an effort to add values to our relationships by responding promptly, acknowledging, and communicating values to the other party just by responding promptly. Because what you don't know is that your response could just be a link in a very long chain. And if you refuse, or if you withhold your response on time, promptly, it could slow down the whole process, or it could derail the whole exercise completely. When all it takes is just a quick response from you. You want to add values to the people in your life by way of serving them. Learn how to report and give feedbacks. Learn how to report, send your report, and give feedbacks. You see, responding promptly is about acknowledging the instruction. Reporting and feeding back is about responding to the assignment itself. So when an instruction is given, feedback or delivery of some sort is expected. You only add value when you give the report, when you give the feedback, and the feedback or the report matches the expectations of the person that gave the instruction in the first place. Make me a cup of tea, and then you come back with a cup of chocolate, or cocoa pop, or coffee, or hot water. No. Yes, you have responded, but is that what is expected? Is your report or your feedback corresponding to what is expected from the report, from the instruction? So you must learn how to report and give feedback. And how do you do that? Number one, you must do what is called setting the sunset rule. In every conversation, in every deliberation and every interaction, one of the best and effective way to give report and give feedback is to adopt this sunset rule. What does it mean? Simply put, whatever instruction I receive today, before my head hits the pillow, I must give a feedback. I must give a report. I must at least communicate something to the person that is expecting or that's giving the instruction. Now, does that mean every instruction and every task will be completed in a day? No. But just say, sir, I'm still working on it. Yes, Lord, I'll get back to you this time tomorrow. I should have an answer. I'm waiting for this to happen, and as soon as it happens, you'll be the first to know. You must give a closure. It might not be a permanent closure, but before your head hits the pillow, before the sunset, get back, report back, give feedback. It adds value to the person that you are dealing with. Guilty as charged as well. The sunset rule will enable for planning for next day. Because we know where we are today, there's no carryover of still waiting on you today by tomorrow. And it helps you to start a new day from a new slate. It adds value even to you as a person, not just to the other person that you are relating or communicating with. It adds value So, the way to report and to give feedback is number one, set the sunset rule. Number two, anticipate the next move. In most cases, the people you are dealing with, they are people that you're already used to. You spend time together. You are relating to them. You are in the office. They're your spouse, your children, your friend, your colleague. So over time, your path, they've crossed over and over again. So you must have picked up some things about that person. You must have learned some traits about that person. You must have known some things about that person. You must have acquainted yourself regarding the character of that person. So most of the time, you are able to anticipate what the next move will be. The challenge with that, however, is that you must be careful so that you don't work, you don't act, you don't respond, you don't initiate anything out of assumption or presumption. You know, one of the things I said to myself when every time I'm serving somebody, I say to myself, I would rather ask a stupid question in the closet than to commit a big blunder in the public. The answer to your ignorance is hidden in the question you have not asked. If you don't know, ask. Once you ask, now you know. There's a place for innovation, for you to take initiative. There's a place for that. But make sure you do all of that within the jurisdiction that you already have. Don't overstep your boundaries, because you may have good intentions, but if the outworking of it does not match the jurisdiction or the level of the power that you have, you will cause a bigger trouble, and that will not add value to anybody. So you haven't served the other person. So as you can see, there's so many things involved when it comes to serving one another, especially in this area of adding values to others in our communication style. If you fail to follow this rule, if you fail to not appreciate the importance of this thing, you will always be in a one big issue with the other, hassling and haggling and causing trouble and argument, and eventually you're not adding values to them. You're not serving the other person. You're not making their lives comfortable. You're not helping them to have a better experience of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have the ability to grow, to develop, to increase, to enlarge, to expand, to appreciate. But there are things we must do. And as we do all those things, to be all of that, we must have a portion that is carved aside, that is dedicated completely to serving others. You cannot live a life outside of service to others and be happy. It's not possible. It is not possible. You cannot be happy if all you think, all you do, all you are focused on is you, me, myself, and I. You won't be happy. There must be an avenue in your life and in my life where we're adding values to others, where we're serving others, where we're reaching out to others, where we're helping them and just promoting them and pushing them up and giving them the advantage. Because if we're not doing that, we're not serving and we're not adding values to anybody. And that is a sad life. It's a boring life. Let me say this in closing. This that we have discussed tonight is just a chapter out of my new book called Value Added Service. You want to add value to people's life. You want to serve people with integrity. You want to serve people with great intention. You want to serve people. You want to help people. You want to add values to people. I highly recommend this book. It would help you because I know it has helped me in my journey of serving, of my journey of being there, reaching out to others, helping others. The book is called Value Added Service and is currently available in Kindle format and in paperback on Amazon. I cannot tell you enough how much this book will add value to you. And I strongly recommend it because I know it has added a lot of benefits and values to my life and put me in a position where I am a better person today to be able to help others, to be able to reach out to others, to be able to be at service to others. Avail yourself a copy of this book and you won't regret it. Thank you so much for taking time to be part of tonight's program. This platform is for you and I to become better at who we are so that we can become better at what we do and we can become better to the people in our lives and the society at large. And that is why it is called Become a Better Man or a Better Woman. Because I am convinced that there's a place, there's a destination that is set for us. And every Thursday, we're taking another step and another step and another step and another step towards arriving at that destination where when we arrive, every man, every woman, every boy and every girl that will see us, they will have no choice but to confess that surely, truth be told, these are better men and better women. I'll see you again next week. God bless. Bye-bye.